Good evening everyone and welcome to the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League. I'm your host with the most, Mark. Tonight, the legend is joining me tonight as always. Tim, how you doing, mate? You alright?
Hey Malk, how you doing? As you know, I've had a bit of a crazy situation going on in my personal life here. Well, a maintenance situation. But I was sitting there, I was thinking about it. I am not going to miss Monaco. And not just because this is now technically our first race of the season. It's just that the fact that this is going to be such a great race, but such a chaotic race, that it just absolutely doesn't matter. I'm going to be here, and I am just completely stoked. And if I didn't have to be glued to this screen, I'd be bouncing off the walls.
Okay, fair dues, mate, fair dues. Let's hope we will have a cracking race, whatever happens here tonight, Tim. Like I said, we'll make it as special as we can. Like I said, as Tim said, rightly so, this is technically our first race. Last week, if you didn't know, there was some problems with PSN, and there always has been problems with the PSN. We've always, the first time with the first race of the brand new season and stuff, but always, whatever happens here tonight, first ever time we're at Monaco since 2017, I believe. So it's a very, very long time here, Tim. But the guys are in their proper performance cars tonight. So we're just going to watch Mr. P. I'm going to do the qualifying lap with Mr. P, and then I'm going to go back to you, Tim, if that's all right. We're coming up to the first corner now, Mr. P. Now, so this is the part where they go up the hill now into passing Belle Rivage, then coming to Massenet corner. Then coming up to the casino corner, the famous casino part where Del Boy tried to spend some money there. Coming up to turn 5 at the end of first sector, he's done a 19 seconds on the soft tyre there. Coming to turn 6 now. Coming now to some of the hotels here at turn 7 there. Then coming up to turn 8 now. Then coming up to, which is the tunnel part now, the famous tunnel in turns 9, and then coming up to, it's like a roller coaster ride here, going down the hill here for turn 10 here. Then the chicane part, they're going to be absolutely spot on here. Then coming to turn 11 now. Then coming to Tobacco corner now, turn 12 now. Then to the unlucky turn, which is 13, passing the swimming pool corner now. 14, then 15, then coming up to 16 now, then coming down to 17, then 18 now, sharp right-hand corner now, then coming to turn 19, which has just gone past the pit entry there, then the DRS straight, the one and only DRS straight, which is the first and only time, and the time to beat, Tim, is a 1 minute 12.1. What do you think of the drivers tonight so far? Do you think there'll be a shock? Oh, Luke Bailey's done a 1:11.9. Cracking stuff there from Luke Bailey. What's your thoughts there, mate?
You said there was going to be a shock. That's actually the shock that I was going to say that we just saw. As now Scopefielder is at the fastest time with a 1:11.9.
Oh, no, brilliant stuff.
But Luke Bailey being in the Mercedes, that means that he showed the slowest amount of pace, for lack of better words, in the preseason races. That's not to take away from him. It's just, how the admins choose the cars, as you know. So, he's in the Mercedes, but it also means that technically he's maybe not as quick of a driver as a guy in the Williams, which is Scopefielder, because he showed an enormous amount of pace in the preseason. So I was surprised to see Luke Bailey up there, but I'm also glad to see him up there because the times are looking really close, and it looks like it's going to be a really good race, and that it's not going to come down to car performance so much as just driver performance. And, of course, with Monaco, you get the very possibility of wrecks and maybe even a safety car. So it's going to come down to that, but I don't think car performance is going to be a big issue here. I think it's mainly going to be driver control.
Absolutely there, Tim, because they've got to get it absolutely spot on around here, whatever happens there. But fantastic driving, whatever happens there from Luke Bailey. Bear in mind, these are the, as Tim said, the admins, they decide on the pace of the cars, and they have to look at it at each track, because each track has got its own different opinions. I mean, I always say Force India, which is the racing points, but I always say Force... Oh my God, oh, Stephen hit the wall there on his debut Performance League tonight here in the Ferrari cars. But is there any drivers out there that you expect to do well here tonight, Tim?
Well, definitely Scopefielder for sure. because, you know, he showed an amazing amount of speed in the preseason races. And as I'm looking down the list here, I'm actually noticing a few drivers are missing tonight that showed some speed. But Mr. Sky, you know, we were talking about that in preseason. You cannot count Mr. Sky out ever. Because as you said, he has, what is it, 1 win, but he has 2 drivers' championships in the Invictus Racing League?
In the performance leagues, when we had 2 seasons of it last year in the 2018 game, he's only won 1 race, but he has won 2 drivers' championships at least.
Yeah, and we're currently watching him, actually, at least on my screen. We're riding on board with him. He's actually doing his out lap. He's just about to cross the line to start his lap. We're going to go ahead and follow him for just a little bit. What happened, Mount?
I believe it's raining. I believe I could see if... Yeah, there is raining. It's starting to light rain now. Manic stuff here. I've not been told from the weather crew here, Tim, but manic stuff here. Good evening to Droku. I pronounced it wrong, but I do apologise. But he's rooting on for Tom 444 in 7th place with a medium time for 113.3. Brilliant drive from some of the drivers here tonight. But Tim, it's raining tonight. Would the drivers that have started already? Is this the best advantage for them already?
Yes, actually, the drivers that have already set a lap time, I'd almost say give the pole to Scope Builder right here, right now, unless Luke Bailey can somehow pull off a miracle, or someone can pull off a miracle. Because, you know, as you saw in the German Grand Prix, the real life one this past weekend, I mean, and it's quite obvious as to why, rain just makes the lap time so much slower. So unless it stops raining from here on out, Scope Builder's got this pole, and the rest of the drivers are just kind of out there for track acclimatization. But again, that's not a bad thing for him, because it's Monaco. You can never have too much practice at Monaco.
No, absolutely not. Locke said, sorry mate, I've just got some comments back. Droku says it's absolutely chucking it down. Tom's medium lap is dodgy. Okay. Just have to wait and see what happens here tonight. But Mr. Sky, the championship drivers champion, double drivers champion, in 3rd place at the minute for 112 flat. So fantastic stuff from him as well. But Schofielder will be the one to watch, and it's really going down, as what Droku has said on the comment box here. But Aaron J. Spence, Colin Jace, SJD and Spud are the only ones who have not done a lap-ins at all. Well, should they have gone out there, Tim? Should they have gone out?
Well, hindsight's 20/20, Malk, so it's very easy to say that, and yeah, you're right, they should have gone out, but I don't think they anticipated that it was going to rain, but it just so happened to do it, and now they're just kind of stuck. I mean, they can go out, they might be able to line up somewhere mid-pack, but I think their chances for pole position are virtually over at this point.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I was watching Spud as you was talking there, Tim, and he lost a bit of his front wing damage here, and hopefully that he's still going on this lap. I don't know if he's trying to do it, he's really hitting the wall here. This could be like in the 14s here if he doesn't be careful here. Oh, he's going back into the pits. I don't blame him. But that one, SJD on the Racing Point car now. So he's on the soft tyre at the minute, trying to be absolutely delicate around the corners here, trying to brake. It's not wet fully yet, as in on the track, because I reckon it'll take about a few laps in, and then that's when it kicks in, when the DRS is stopped. But SJD's done the 113.3. With this season coming up, Tim, what are you expecting with some of the drivers this season? Is there anyone that you expect to see what happens here this season, or is there anyone that you think will be a dark horse this season?
What exactly do you mean by dark horse, first off?
Dark horse, I mean outsider, like someone that you do not expect to be in the top at all after they haven't done much at the top. They just could be an outsider, shall we say, of I'm trying to think of another word. Not like, say, we pick Scopefielder or Mr. Skyseat that always get into the top 4, always. It's just one of those drivers who are outside of the top 5 every time. But this season, they hit in the top 4s, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, I think it's a little early to tell at this point because we're still not sure exactly how these drivers are going to react with these new cars. I mean, it should be relatively similar from the physics of F1 2018, but I just don't think that we're 100% sure on how it's going to work out yet.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens here. But everyone else is all pitted except for Mr. Skyzy, Tom 444, and Aaron J. Spence. Now, we haven't mentioned about the cars. Thank you to iDroQ for giving me 100 bits on Twitch. So just bits just means like a little bit of like credits and stuff. So thank you very much, mate. He says go Tom 444 in 9th place. Schofield in the Williams, Luke Bailey's in the Mercedes, Tom Avalanche, aka Waving Tail. If I say Waving Tail, it's Tom Avalanche, Tim. So I always say that every time. I believe he's in the Alfa Romeo. Mr. Skies is in the Toro Rosso. F1 Mr. P is in the Force India / Racing Point. Saab is in the Ferrari. Mike's in the McLaren. SJD is in the Force India / Racing Point. Tom 444 is in the Renault. Brixie, but on that Gixie, is in 10th place with the Mercedes in there. 11th is O'Steve in the Ferrari. Aaron J. Spencer's in 12th, which I'm watching currently now, doing his lapping. Colin J is in 13th with the Red Bull, and Spud is in the Haas car, whatever happens here. Was there any shocks that you noticed so far with the times coming up, Tim?
Well, when it was raining a little bit earlier and Mr. Sky was able to set the 3rd fastest, which is now only the 4th fastest time, that was actually a shock to me because I figured that even though it was a light rain, that it would have just completely obliterated any chance he had at a podium time or even a top 5 time. But obviously, as you can see, he's still sitting fairly comfortably in 4th, and it's still, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's still raining out there. And it doesn't really seem to be getting any harder, but it's not letting up either.
No, absolutely not. But absolutely not. But I think the guys who are on the track already, they're already slowing down with their times at the minute. Because I'm just watching Tom 404. He's 8/10 slower on his best time on the medium tires. So
overshot the chicane. Sorry, Matt, but he overshot the chicane. We're watching him right now coming out of the tunnel. And I don't know if it was... Oh, my goodness! Sir Spud just completely plowed the wall trying to knock it down. He just lost the car. Definitely wing damage there. Well, actually a lack of wing damage because there is no front wing.
No, absolutely not. I think he was trying to get back into the pits, whatever happens there. But like I said, I can't see any movement going on unless there's any shock, unless the wet stop at any point, which I doubt it very much. But I'm just going through the standings quickly. Scopefield's in the lead in 1st, Luke Bailey's in 2nd, Tom Avalanche is in 3rd, Mr. Skyzy is in 4th, F1 Mr. P is in 5th, Saab is in 6th. Mike's the one to watch out for, Tim, because I know majority of the time he's always at the back, but to start off with on the qualifying, but then he shots all the way up to the top into the podium stuff, so he might be one to watch. But bear in mind, this is a new game, this is a brand new season, so this could be a different situation here, whatever happens here. But Mike's in 7th at the minute. SJD's in 8th. Oh, there's a bit of debris there from O'Stevens' car in 11th. But Tom 444 is in 9th, Brixie's in 10th, O'Stevens in 11th, Aaron J. Spencer's in 12th, Colin J is in 13th, and Spud is in 14th place.
Now, were you able to see what happened to O'Steven? I was watching him, but I didn't see him hit the wall or anything. But then you mentioned the damage, and I saw him coming around one of those last corners before he pulled into the pits, and yeah, the left side of his wing was just gone.
He went past, the swimming pool section, turns 13, 14. Yeah. He hit the wall at that point there. That's what I was just, so that's what's happened there. Scope and Aaron J. Spencer both retired from the session. So SJD is retired from the session. The rain is absolutely killing it for the qualifying tonight. This is absolutely insane stuff here. Good evening to everyone that's joining the session or watching the stream. Like I said, me and Tim are live and exclusive for the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League. Whatever happens here tonight, I'm sure Tim will be absolutely on the edge of his seat with Monaco for the first time since 2017 that we've done it live and exclusive for Invictus. What's your thoughts on Monaco? Before, I think the majority of the drivers are going to retire now, but what's your thoughts on Monaco in general, mate?
As a fan, I love Monaco, but as a driver, I hate it. And if I drove this place in real life, oh man, there would not be a word that come out of my mouth that was not cussing. Like, it's just, I mean, you know, you drive it on this game, and it is so difficult because it's such a technical track. But when you watch it as a fan, you know, and you're not having to worry about all that, it's so entertaining because of the unpredictability that it brings.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Monaco's it's like watching a big football match or the big spectacle moment, because it's one of those famous tracks where you've got to be absolutely concentrated. If one little mistake and you've had it pretty much, and you ruined your race, whatever happens here. But the concentration of these guys here tonight, they're going to be absolutely on the ball here, especially when they're having a ding-dong battle here. We've got yellow flags in Sector 2, not sure where that's come from, but...
that was actually Luke Bailey. I was watching him on my screen. I have no idea what happened, but I just saw him barely touch the wall, like literally just barely, and just kind of scraping alongside it a little bit. Then he got back under power. It was almost like... you know, like, I don't know if he's a pad user, but if he is, it was almost like it got disconnected or something.
Oh, okay. Hopefully he'll bounce back here, but he's probably just trying out with the wet, with the dry tires on the little bit.
He spun though.
Oh, he spun?
Yep, he spun, and wing damage. He's right next to the pits though, thankfully. I mean, he's coming around right now, undoubtedly going to the pitch. Yes, he does, but the entire left side of that front wing was just completely gone. I have no idea what happened. The view was actually obstructed. I just saw the silver Mercedes just kind of stop, just right to the side of the screen.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that, Tim. We just had a little bit of damage from F1 Mr. P, who's coming up to the first corner. He hit the wall, but then he hit the wall again on the right side, and he's lost a bit of his front wing, so he will go back in. We've got 18 seconds left of the qualifying of the Monaco Grand Prix, but like I said, I think this is what you see is what you're going to get. I don't think anyone's going to try and improve their times, because the majority of the drivers have retired from the session. So, like I said, with the timing, ding, ding, dong. Like I said, the qualifying has now finished, Tim. This is the most crucial part. Now, it feels like this is our first ever race, but technically it's their second race because of what happened last week. To master Monaco, if you was in like the top 5, what would you do? What would be your strategy to start off with?
Well, honestly, I think I would start on, and you know, I'm not gonna call myself an ace strategist or anything, but I kind of feel like starting on the medium tires would be the best way to go. Maybe the hards if you really want to risk it, but you're also surrendering a lot of lap time there if you start on the hards. But the reason I'm thinking that you need to start on the harder compound tires is because I expect a lot of chaos in this race. So the drivers in the rear, you know, Aaron JS, Colin J, Sir Spud, you know, they probably should have went out on medium tires instead of lap just so they can have them. Then lay back at the start, wait for the carnage, and then just drive through.
Absolutely, absolutely. But at the end of the day, they probably know what they're doing. We just have to wait and see what happens here at the glorious race. Well, not so glorious race of the rain at Monaco here. But like I said, it's a good start for Scope and Mr. Guys who are following on from the pre-season races a couple of weeks ago. So they'll be on top form. Luke Bailey's done exceptionally well. Yeah, just have to wait and see what happens here tonight here. But, I mean, Wave and Tell, aka Ton Avalanche, she's doing a fantastic job. Good evening to you guys. I hope you're going well. Oh, here are your short... Do you want to do the qualifying quickly, Tim, while I read the comments?
Yes, yeah,
Tim?
go right ahead. All right, right now we have Scopefielder on the pole, unsurprisingly, as he set that fast lap before it started raining. That's a 111.9. Luke Bailey in second with a 111.981. Ton Albach in third with a 112.036. Mr. Sky in fourth with a 112.067. Mr. P in fifth with a 112.170. 112.879 belongs to Sav in sixth place. Mike in seventh gets a 112.981. A 113.381 goes to the Racing Point in the eighth position, and I cannot read the rest off as the screen is already changed, but I do know for a fact that the Ferrari of O. Stevens, who I was watching at the end, officially lines up in the 11th position.
Fair dues, fair dues. Nice one, Tim. Nice one on that one. Good evening to Gareth. How you doing, mate? You're right. He says, I drove Q, says hello. Aaron J. Spence, he's saying evening, Colin for podium. So, Aaron J. Spence is saying that Colin J will be on the podium stuff. So, interesting stuff there. I drove Q, he says, no. Tom for podium. Tom for podium. To be fair, Tom, as long as he doesn't get any penalties or anything like that, and you can keep it clean, I reckon he'll do well and get into the podium stuff. With the strategy here tonight, if it's a dry race, whatever happens here, if it's a dry race at Monaco, it's definitely a one-stop. It's definitely a one-stop. You could do medium softs, because they're pretty much the same tyre pace, because it's a street track. There's not much gravel, shall we say, or issues on the track. Who's your top three, Tim, so far? Who's going to be your top three for tonight?
I'm probably going to have to go Scopefielder,
okay.
Mr. Sky, and I'm going to throw a little bit of a surprise in there because he showed some promise in qualifying while it was dry. Luke Bailey. I think he's going to get that third position.
In any order? No particular order?
I'm feeling like the order I listed him out is what it's going to be, but we're just going to throw it out there and say any order because it's Monaco. It's unpredictable.
Yeah, it's, as Tim said, it's absolutely unpredictable stuff here, whatever happens here. Oh, thank you, Draco. Thank you very much, mate. Oops. Oh, you did not.
But you were mentioning, though, a minute ago, Ton Albach. I'm sorry, I probably butchered the name. But you were
just say wave and tell, mate. Just say wave and tell. You're on. Yeah, just say that, mate. Don't worry.
All right. He is now officially wave and tell. But you were talking about him, and he actually set the third fastest time in qualifying on soft tires in wet conditions. So we got to look for him, but for some reason, you know, when you listen to that gut feeling you have about how a race is going to go, for some reason I just don't think he's going to get that podium, if you ask me. It doesn't mean he can't. I just think that for some reason I don't want to jinx anybody. I just feel like something's going to go wrong here at the start.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see what happens here tonight, whatever happens, because as you said, Monaco's a track where people make so many mistakes, but the problem is there's not much overtakes unless you're in the pits. That's the only problem with Monaco. It's a good track, but the guys have got to be very careful. If one guy makes a mistake, especially on the smaller sections, it's going to be like a mud bath, shall we say, on that one. But for me personally, for the top three, I reckon Scope will carry on. Mr. Sky C will carry on with his momentum in the driver stuff. But I know Luke Bailey's doing really well. He did well last week, 2 weeks ago in the pre-season race. But it's going to be tough. I reckon Wave, as long as he's not hitting the wall or anything like that, I reckon he could do well here. But don't get me wrong, you've got SJD, it could be outside, it could be Mike, it could be any of the drivers here tonight. This is a brand new, well, race 2, shall we say, but this is technically our first ever race of the brand new season of the Invictus Racing League Performance League. And I'll tell you what, Tim, I'll let you do all the honours when he does the 5 countdown. Alright, mate? I'll let you do that.
All right, I'm ready. I've got my coffee in my system, my energy drink, whatever I got to drink to stay awake. But that's not going to be an issue here at Monaco.
I don't blame you, mate. So, carry on, mate. It's all yours for the top 3. Well, the countdown.
Cars on the grid, and you hear that they are ready. You hear those itchy throttle pedals. 1, 2, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Red lights in the air. No lights, green flag, and away we go for the Performance League, for Invictus Racing League. This is the Monaco Grand Prix. Scope Builder in the Williams. He starts out with a lead. Luke Bailey in second. What has happened, Malcolm?
Oh no, crash! There's been a crash at the back of the grid! There's been a crash at the back of the grid. I didn't see exactly what actually happened there, but majority of the drivers have dropped right down now. The guys are in the hard times. They'll be absolutely livid. They probably have to go back in. Oh my God, who was that? I was just supposed to go for the inside moment there, Tim. I'll let you carry on, Tim.
Now just exiting the hairpin. Scope Builder still in the lead. Luke Bailey still in second. Tom Albach's now in the third position. Mr. Sky in fourth. They're all just mostly running nose to tail, approximately half a second or so apart from each other. No attempts at an overtake just yet, but coming out of the tunnel, Luke Bailey has an enormous amount of speed and gains a lot of ground on Scope Builder, but out of that chicane, Scope Builder has just an amazing exit.
Oh, absolutely there, mate. I'm just trying to see if there's any other action going on there, but still watching RJ Spence trying to close in on Saab for 7th place. Who are you watching at the minute? Live
Currently
and exclusive?
riding on board with Ton Albanot, and he is looking and trying to chase down that Mercedes of Luke Bailey. I thought I saw a little bit of smoke coming from Luke Bailey's car. It since has been declared as a false alarm, but he's not really gaining any ground. Ton isn't on Luke Bailey, but Luke Bailey isn't gaining ground on Scope Builder either.
No, but hopefully, like I said, Wave It Out, aka Ton Avalanche, try closing on Luke Bailey now. But Luke Bailey could have a chance of closing in on Scope soon. But SJD nearly closed in on Prix for 10th place at the minute here, Tim. But at the moment, it's been for starters, Stephen and Colin J, they've got to be pitted for the first time in this race. So I would have liked to have seen what happened at the start there, because I saw there was a Renault car, and there was like a few other, the Haas car as well. So I don't know if there was any problems at the back there. Saab's got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting now. But Luke Bailey could be closing in on Scope here, Tim.
Yeah, and actually I'm watching the leaderboard, and that gap is shrinking just ever so slightly. It was up to about half a second, half a lap ago. Now, of course, it's back down to half a second, but he had it to about 0.3 seconds. Of course, that's just the nature of the constant, stopping and going of these, of these races. But I'm watching him riding on board with him, and I do believe that Williams of Scope Builder is getting a lot bigger in Luke Bailey's view, and he is right there on him. They are going to approach the hairpin in just another corner, going around the final corner before the approach to the hairpin. Not quite able to do anything there. Luke Bailey, he gets into the back of Scope Builder. Luke Bailey could not brake in time for the hairpin. He got into the back of Scope Builder. Actually, I think it helped Scope out, but I don't know if Luke Bailey has any wing damage or not.
I'm just trying to have a look to see if there's any wing damage there. So far at the minute, it looks like it's all okay on my end. Yeah, he's fine. His wings are absolutely with the Red Bull to give him wings on that one, so he's absolutely fine now. But
very fortunate.
as you was watching, I was watching there, Tim. There was a 5-car battle at the top, and there was 5 cars who have had all fastest laps of the second lap, but the DRS should be now enabled, so Scope will be a sitting duck here if he doesn't watch out here, but he's got a good exit here, and he's doing everything possible with the Williams car, so he's doing everything he can there. SJD moves up to 10th, Prix is in 11th place. Carry on, Tim.
Well, right now, still watching that battle between Scope Builder and Luke Bailey. I just cannot take my eyes off of it. And Luke Bailey, just with each passing lap, he gets closer to Scope Builder. He just cannot hit the wall. They're approaching the hairpin yet again. Remember, he got into the back of him last time. Very clean through the hairpin this time around. Scope Builder stays right on line. Luke Bailey goes maybe just a little bit wide, but no one touches the wall. They're now approaching the tunnel section, and Scope Builder gets an amazing exit out of that corner, and Luke Bailey is right now just still giving chases. Now they've exited the tunnel, and they are heading down to that chicane. Hard braking into that chicane and all the way down into gear 1. What has happened, Malcolm?
I did not see what happened, but RJ Spence has lost a bit of his front wing just before the tunnel section, when I believe that was turn 8. I think turn 9 was the tunnel, I believe. but Aaron J. Spence has lost a bit of his front wing damage.
And he got in the wall
did
again, actually. Like, it wasn't very hard, but he just barely got into it.
Yeah, it looks like he's struggling at the moment here, and I don't blame him for that one. Saab's going to the pits now. So, at the moment here, I don't know if there was any contact. I don't know if there was any contact from at the time, or Saab's going for the early stop and go all the way to the end. If they go on the hards, they'll go all the way to the end, because this track is just, there's no deg problems, shall we say. But so far we've got a four cars battle here. Fantastic stuff here, Tim. This is going to be absolutely insane. So we're only on lap 5 of 39 here. What's going to happen?
I have no idea, but I'm absolutely loving it. There was a little bit more contact in the hairpin between Luke Bailey and Schofielder. Not as bad as last time, but Luke Bailey, he's getting a little impatient back there, and who can blame him? I mean, like you said, Monaco is not really known for overtaking opportunities, but just behind him, he now has pressure from Wave and Tell in that Alfa Romeo, and he's going to be looking to take that second position very soon. But behind him is Mr. Sky, right on his bumper. And then only a second behind Mr. Sky is the Racing Point of Mr. P. So virtually we have what could eventually turn into a 5-car battle for the lead here.
Oh, absolutely. This is what we love about Invictus. You never know what to expect. Gareth said it was a contact between Saab and Aaron J. Spence. So there was a contact between Saab and Aaron J. Spence at the time. During that, I think it was the contact, but I wasn't sure. I didn't realise if it was that one or not, but it was just double checking. But thank you, Gareth. Thank you for helping me on that one. Thank you for helping us for that one.
The Racing Point of Mr. P is now putting a lot of pressure. I'm sorry, Matt, but he is putting a lot of pressure on Mr. Sky. I thought for a minute he was going to make a move in the hairpin because he got right up to the back of it, but now Mr. Sky's actually pulled away. I'm sorry for that. Continue on, Matt.
No, carry on, mate. Don't worry. If you see something live and exclusive, jump in, because we would like to know what is going on for the viewers to see what we need to watch as well. But like I said, Tim, with this battle here for the 5-car battle for the lead here, is there anyone that could stop Scope, would you say, at the moment here, or would you say it's going to take a few more laps in?
Well, Luke Bailey, I mean, at the start, he seemed to have... Oh my goodness, Luke Bailey just hit the wall, and he undoubtedly has wing damage. I was just going to say he looked fast at the start, but looks to be struggling now, undoubtedly struggling now, with the Toro Rosso of Mr. Sky trying to get by him, but there's just not an opportunity. Ton Albanach, Wave and Tail of the Alfa Romeo, got by.
Yeah, I think Luke Bailey, who's just had to hit the wall, lost a bit of his front wing, and now he's dropped down from second to 5th in a matter of a few corners there, so hopefully he'll bounce back as quickly as possible. I will not be surprised if he goes to the hard tyres when he gets pitted in soon and go all the way to the end. I will not be surprised on that one. But at the moment, Schofield is in the lead in first place. You've got Tone Avalanche, aka Wave Intel, the Flying Scotsman, is in second place. Mr. Sky C, the 2-time Drivers' Champion, in third place. You've got F1 Mr. P in fourth place at the moment. Luke Bailey's in 5th, still within a second of Mr. P in 5th place. Mike's in 6th. I was jumping ahead there from 6th to 2nd. Sorry about that. You know what I mean? It's just madness stuff here, but fantastic stuff. Whatever happens here, Luke Bailey does pit, so Mike will jump up to 5th now. Has there been any interesting stuff there for you so far in this race for yourself here, Tim?
Well, actually, what's interesting to me is that we've had less carnage than I anticipated. In fact, what we've had, I don't even think qualifies as carnage. We had a bit of an issue on the start, and then, just a couple drivers maybe nicking the wall here and there. Otherwise, it's been a relatively calm race, and that actually surprises me. I mean, these drivers are, they're good drivers. They know what they're doing, obviously, but it's Monaco.
Oh, absolutely. Monaco is like one of those famous tracks, and you're going to be absolutely spot on there, whatever happens here. But we might have a battle at the back here between 12th and 13th with Colin J and Aaron J. Spence for 12th place here. But also, I want to try and get back into the top 2 of Scope and Tone Avalanche. Oh, side by side, two in a bad situation. Colin J moves up to 12. What a move there from Colin J. No, no. Oh, what a move.
It was a crossover.
What a move there. Oh, crisscross crossovers. Brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, Scope, the leader, goes into third. Drops down to third. Sab could be side by side with Spud. Oh, the Spud chicane stuff. So Spud's going 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Oh my
Scope
God, I need to have a break.
Yeah, Scope dropped into third, now sixth now because he made a pit stop. Gonna see what tires he elects to take, as now he's out of his pit, and he has in fact taken the hard tire. So Scope Builder looking to maybe make this a one-stop race and go the full distance, as now Wave and Tail is in the lead, followed very closely by the Toro Rosso of Mr. Sky and the Racing Point of Mr. P, 2.5 seconds behind them.
Yeah, Spud's struggling. I don't know if he's lost a bit of his front wing damage, that's why he's losing so much time on the others. It looked like he's lost a bit of his front wing as well. But he might lose that to Colin J here if he doesn't be careful here. But side by side, oh my God, that could have been side by side moments there. So SJD moves up to, no, Mike moves up to fourth. Mike moves up to fourth, brilliant stuff, absolutely brilliant. Aaron just better to get past Sab. I don't know if Sab's struggling as well. Has he lost a bit of his front wing damage there as well? Yes, he has. He's lost a bit.
Go ahead, Malk.
Sorry about that, mate. The side by side. I couldn't say it. Sab's lost a bit of his front wing on the left-hand side there. So Mr. Scott's going to the pits now. So the guys are still on the softs who have not pitted yet. They're still going. They're still going on this fantastic race, whatever happens here tonight. And I tell you what, this is going to be a belter of a race tonight, because Tim, the legend, will carry on for the next lap or so.
Well, currently looking at Mr. P, but he is not giving any pressure to Wave and Tail, who is 5 seconds ahead of him in the tunnel turn right now. Really in command of this race. Expect for him to pit very soon. Those soft tires, they can't possibly be lasting too much longer, but he's out of the tunnel turn and through the chicane. Maybe a little bit of a corner cut, but I don't think the stewards are going to have a problem with that. As now you see, just behind you, now looking at him, is the Racing Point of F1 Mr. P, who, as I said, 5.8 seconds behind Wave and Tail. Mr. P, after pit stop cycle through, probably will rejoin in about the 5th position. But we're going to have to just wait and see, as now Mike in the McLaren has moved up to the 3rd position. Not sure if that is for pit stops or what, but he is in the McLaren and going around past the pits, not electing to take a pit stop just yet. Behind him is SJD in the Racing Point, who also is still on the soft tires.
Absolutely. Like I said, 10 laps on the softs. With 39 laps, I will not be surprised if the softs can last up to, I reckon, lap 15. If they're fresh. Mediums. Oh my God, Mike's nearly hit the wall there. He was bounced off like a bumping car moment there. But like I said, Mike's holding on for 2nd place at the moment here. There's a few battles going on. Tom 4x4 and Luke Bailey won the battles. You also got another battle here with Colin J and Sab at the moment. So Tom 4x4 holding on against the battle of Luke Bailey in 7th place here. Fantastic battle, whatever happens. Good evening to Never Miss. How you doing, mate? You're right. This is insane, mate, racing at Invictus. Brilliant stuff. Tim, absolute legend. Do you want to carry on?
Yeah, and actually I'm watching the battle that you were talking about between TL44 and Luke Bailey, and actually there was a lockup from the Renault of TL44 coming out of the tunnel, but no, they both got away unscathed. Now, Luke Bailey, he had some issues a few laps ago to where in turn 1 he hit the wall, and you mentioned that he was going to maybe pull in and put on the hard tires, but he's actually elected to fit the medium tires, and he has 3 laps on them already, and now he is putting a lot of pressure on TL44, but the medium tires just don't seem to be doing it for him right now, and everyone else seems to be taking the hard, so it's going to be very interesting. What happened?
Sorry, Tim. What a move there from Scope against Brixie, but on a Gixie on 2nd, 3rd. Absolutely brilliant move. Scope is an absolute belter of a champion that could be in the end. Well, I know it's only 1st season, But what a move there from Scope! In from third to second up the hill. That is absolutely insane stuff. Sorry, Tim. What happened was he went both Briggsy and Scope side by side up the hill before the casino section, and I'll tell you what, Scope just like, well, thank you very much, come again. And I'll tell you what, he just went past it. There's insane stuff there, brilliant stuff, absolutely brilliant. Scope will be in the lead, whatever happens here tonight. If you can try and get ahead of Ton Avalanche, who's in the pits at the moment here, Tim.
Yeah, that's a 17-second gap that he's going to have to make up. I don't think he's going to have a problem with it. I do believe he's going to inherit this lead, but it's going to be close nonetheless as Ton Albanach is away. But it's not going to matter because Scopebuilder has now officially inherited this lead back. Scopebuilder in the lead, followed by Mr. Sky and Briggsy, which is a battle happening.
Yeah, just as you was watching Mr. Sky and Briggsy, fantastic stuff there. Mr. Sky moves up to second place. Briggsy, but on that Gigsy's trying everything possible. He is on the a bit of older medium tyre situation there, but so far so good for Scope, Mr. Skyzy, the two favourites for winning the Drivers' Championship here. But Mr. P nearly went to the back of Tom 444. But I tell you what, this has been a belter, Tim, belter.
And you know, the race is not even halfway over, so we got plenty of racing action left to go, and it's just going to get even more exciting from here because it's a one-stop race, as you mentioned, so every driver, well, almost every driver, has made their stop, so should not be any more pit stops from here on out, save for those few drivers who have yet to make one. So it's just going to be pure racing from here on out. We're going to see where these drivers line up after the pit stop cycle through, and then we'll see just who's in contention and how close. But surprisingly, no safety car whatsoever just yet. Very clean racing by these drivers here today.
No, I tell you what, Ton Avalanche went through the inside. No way, he's done the same as what Jules Bianchi did. A few, like, rest in peace, Jules Bianchi. I tell you what, fantastic driver there from Wave and Tell, Ton Avalanche. I tell you what, he went through, you know, the last few corners before the DRS straight. He went through the inside, he just come up to the last corner before the DRS, just like on the inside, he just took it with ease. He really is on fire at the minute here, Ton Avalanche. But Tim, who's been your driver
Riding on
so
board
far?
with him, he's going, approaching the hairpin. This is Ton Albanach and TL445. There was some contact, but they got away very clean. I thought that was going to be a mess right there going into the hairpin. There was contact. I thought it was going to be over for both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just dreaded it, thinking hopefully they'll hold on here. But we've got a three-car battle. Ton Avalanche trying to go for the inside!
Oh, there was contact. There was contact and wing damage to that Alfa Romeo. Oh, my goodness. And he almost had that position.
I tell you what, because of that incident there, Mr. P's lost a bit of his front wing as well. Actually, both wings on the, you know, the side plates ones. They've lost out on that car. Whatever happens here, so I would not be surprised if Mr. P pits, or he's still going. He's still going. So fair play to him.
Why? I have no idea why he's still going. That thing must be driving like an absolute monster right now.
It probably would be, but like I said, he's still going, so fair play to him. SJD's done the fastest lap of the race with a 1:14.692, so congratulations to him. Whatever happens here tonight. Saab's going to the pits now. Colin J moves up to 10th place now. Oh, Ton Avalanche trying closing on Tom 404 in 4th place here. Fantastic racing here, Tim.
Currently riding on board with Ton, and he gets really close to that Renault, but does not get... Oh, and he got the wall. He got the wall just a little bit coming out of the hairpin. Now
Absolutely.
You see Sir
I
Spud
think...
under power. What's happened with Sir Spud?
Spud's just got lapped, so he's probably just letting some of the drivers through, but...
Oh, goodness, and the Alfa Romeo, he overshoots the corners. There was a lockup from TL44S.
Yeah, so fair play to Ton Avalanche for letting Tom 404 through. Yellow flag set to 2. Carry on, Tim, sorry.
Nah, you're completely fine, Mount. But we're still watching this battle. I feel like you are too. I mean, this is just a nail-biter right here as TL44S still in front of Ton Albanach after this chaotic last 2 laps or so between these 2 drivers. This is just a very tight battle. This is exactly what we love to see here. But
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, I don't think the the Alfa Romeo, he's not going to get by him very easily because he is trying every single gap that he can find. It's just not working. Just the nature of this circuit.
Yeah, it's one of those circuits where it's all closed in, and you can't. This is why it's less overtakes, unless you do something out of nowhere, which what Ton Avalanche did a few moments ago, where they just go side by side. They'll have to do it on the chicane part or somewhere, or probably at the pits situation. But Tom 404 might just go, oh!
And contact again.
I tell you what, yeah, Tom 404. Ton Avalanche trying to go for the inside moment there, but Tom 404 was on the racing line situation there, but that was absolutely. Your heart was in your mouth moment there. I'm still watching this battle here between Ton Avalanche and Tom 404. Fantastic stuff here, Tim. Carry on.
Well, I'm just going to say it's a good thing that Rideau and the Alfa Romeo aren't Haas cars, or Gunther Steiner would be absolutely livid right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ah! God, I tell you what there, Ton Avalanche nearly try to go around the outside there against Tom 404, but Tom 404's really defending as much as possible here. Briggs has got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Brilliant. Well, not brilliant, but I tell you what, this has been a brilliant race to start off on the Invictus Racing League.
There's a lockup from the Rideau there, and now Alfa Romeo, the Alfa Romeo of Ton Avalanche. Oh my goodness, there was contact, and now the Rideau was in a dead stop in the hairpin. That was just a matter of running out of real estate there. The Alfa Romeo of Waventail, he just went just a little too wide, and the Renault was there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Saab has done a 1:14.5 of the fastest lap of the race. HydroQ says that shouldn't be a penalty for Tom because he was pushed off. Yeah, Mike's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He was like the non-penalty king here, Mike, but now he's got his first penalty of the brand new season. Hopefully that will not be continuous, shall we say, on that one. But like I said, we've got might have a 3-car battle between Tom 404 and Mr. P, as well as Mike and Aaron G. Spence if they catch up with the other two at the top. Mr. P, who's struggling at the moment here with the wing damage here. Who's been your driver? We're nearly coming up to the halfway point there. Who's been your driver of the day so far? Get your votes in, guys. Who's been your driver of the day at the halfway point, shall we say?
TL44S putting an enormous amount of pressure on Mr. P in that Racing Point machine. I thought they were going to touch just a little bit, but they get through the hairpin very cleanly.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. HydroQ says he's going for Tom for the driver of the day at the halfway point there. But who's been your driver of the day so far here, Tim?
Well, looking down this line here, I think I'm going to have to give it to Luke Bailey, at least at this moment. Because, he had the contact early on, but he's been able to work his way up to the 3rd position on older tires, no less. I don't know how that's going to play out for him, later on in this race. He's on the medium versus the hards. But so far, he's made a very, very decent recovery.
Oh, Tom 444 will have a chance here on the DRS straight here. 2 in the bed. Mr. P. No side-by-side contact there, but still going. They're still going around. Oh, don't. Tom 444 trying to do what Schofield tried to do earlier on in the race, going up the hill side by side and overtake. Brilliant stuff, absolutely brilliant. But Briggs Seed and O'Stephen have gone into the pits now. Mad stuff. Gareth says, Mark, what are the gaps to the leader? I will put that up for you now, mate. So at the moment here, you've got Miss Skycy 6/10 off the leader. Mike Bailey. Luke Bailey is 1.8 seconds. Ton Avalanche 6.3 seconds from the leader. Mr. P is 12 seconds. Same with Tom 444. Mike, Aaron J. Spence 14 seconds, and then SJD with a massive gap between Aaron J. Spence and SJD. Yellow flags on sector 3 now. So, manic stuff here, Tim. What are your thoughts so far in this manic race at lap 20?
The only thing that I can think about at this moment is why is Mr. P still out there with all that wing damage? I mean, like you said, the apart on the sides. They're gone, and yet he's under pressure again from the Renault. I thought it was going to be a move, but TL44S, he is not making a move just yet, but he is trying, weaving that car back and forth, trying to look for any gap he could possibly find.
Yeah, he's trying everything possible here, Tom 44. But here's a question for you, actually, Tim. Would you agree that there could be a second DRS at Monaco? Oh, SJD has retired from the session.
Do you have any idea what happened to SJD? I was just gonna ask you that. Actually, I have no idea, but we see the Ferrari of Sab pitting, and he only had 4 laps on those medium tires, and he's getting a front wing change. So I think that there was contact between Sab and SJD.
I'm not. Like I said, it was at the last few corners there, so something must happen there with SJD. So SJD is the first DRS. The first DNF of the season at the Monaco Grand Prix. So just checking to see the intervals part now. Yellow flag set to 2 now. I'd like to know, we've not had a safety car yet. We've got a couple of battles going on here, Tim. We've got Mr. Scopefield and Mr. Sky C, and also we've got Tom 44 and Mr. P as well, and also Mike and Aaron J. Spence in a minute. But I'd like to watch the top 2 now. So, would you agree Scope and Mr. Sky C are like the 2 favourites? Would you put your money on one of them 2 to win the Drivers' Championship this season? Would you say?
Between Scopefielder and Mr. Sky?
Yeah.
Well, they're both definitely the favorites, and honestly, I think going into this season, Scopefielder and Mr. Sky are the 2 favorites to win. I wish I could give you a definite answer to say which one I think is going to come out on top. But if preseason is anything to base this off of, Scopefielder and Mr. Sky were always running really close to each other. And Scopefielder, he won that first preseason race, so I feel like Mr. Sky's consistency is going to really help him because he always seems to be up there in that top 2. In fact, I think he just at this point owns the second position, just outright, because he is always running in the second position whenever I see him. You know, and you can even attest to that he has finished in second how many times but only won 1 race. So I feel like Mr. Sky's consistency is going to help him out. But if Scopefielder goes out and wins like the next 5 races, then, you know, I don't think consistency is going to matter when you got 5 wins.
Absolutely. But as long as he can keep in the podium stuff, but he could win the race tonight. You just never know what to expect. I'm going to go back to Mr. P and Tom 44 again. And as you can see in the background there, Mike and Aaron J. Spence. 4-car battle! Oh my God, a little bit of contact there between Tom 44 and Mr. P. Mr. P is doing a brilliant job to hold on to 5th, but he is losing so much time between himself and Tom Avalanche in 4th place. But like I said, the drivers who are already in the mediums and the hards, they will have to go. I'll tell you what, Aaron J. Spence will probably need to pit probably about at the next 5 to 6 laps, possibly 5 to 6 laps, I think. Aaron J. Spence is on 17 laps on the hard tyres. Tom 44 has already done 15 laps on the hards. Same with Luke, who's on the medium tyre, but he's done 15 laps. I would say 18 laps would be the one to watch for the medium tyres, and probably about 21 to 22 for the hard tyres to watch out for. Oh! I tell you what, fantastic battle here. Oh my God, 4 cars. No, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Please, don't do this to me. We've got a 4-car battle here, Tim. I tell you what, I'm not going to say anymore. You carry on.
I'm currently watching this battle, and it is between Mr. P, the Renault of TL, Mike in the McLaren, and then Aaron in the McLaren. And it is 1, 2, 3, 4 in the hairpin. And no carnage just yet, but this is, in fact, a 4-car battle, nose to tail as they enter the tunnel section. And this is going to be very intense. And Mr. P, mind you, I want to remind all the viewers, he has front wing damage. Look very closely when that car comes by. He has front wing damage, and he is holding these guys off. I mean, I know it's Monaco. I know you can't really pass here, but it's still amazing nonetheless that he's holding these guys off. And now the Renault of TL445, I believe that was, who now has wing damage. Yes, he is, and he gets in the wall yet again. Maybe you saw what happened, Malk. I don't know.
He hit the wall. He hit the wall on that one, but I'm not sure if he's going to... Yeah, he's pitting. He's going for the pits. Aaron J. Spence could have a chance on Mike now for 6th place now. Aaron J. Spence doing everything possible. I don't know if the tyres were just shot on the hard tyres, but that was way too early for me personally, unless he's just going for the undercut to try for the other people who are trying to pit it probably later on. But still watching this battle between Aaron J. Spence and Mike here. But that was a great battle there between Mr. P and Tom 44 before he pitted. What do you think, guys, in the chat as well? What do you think is going to happen here tonight with this? Is there going to be a shock? Do you think Scope will hold on? And like I said, we might have a 4-car bar here soon. Carry on, Tim, sorry.
No, you're completely fine. I'm just saying that there's potential for a 3-car battle between Mr. P, Mike, and Aaron JS. You know, Mike is only about a second or so behind Mr. P, and Aaron JS is right on Mike's bumper. And with that wing damage, I just feel that Mr. P is going to go nowhere but backward, at least when it comes to track position.
I think he's trying as much as possible with the medium tire to go. I will be very surprised if it goes all the way to the end with the medium tyres. I'll be very... Oh my God, we might have a 2-car battle here for the top 2 at the moment here. We've got Mr. Skyc and Scope, which could be a ding-dong battle here. Scope's doing a fantastic job, same with Mr. Skyc. Luke Bailey will probably try and catch up.
Luke Bailey goes way wide both times went way wide, and now he is knocked back down to the 4th position. What do you think, Matt? Do you think that that's those tires just coming back to bite him?
I did say probably about 18 laps would hit the medium tyres, so I will not be surprised if those tyres are absolutely shot, shall we say, at that point there in time. But if I was him, I would pit for the medium tyre to last the whole race, or maybe the softs, but the softs may not last enough tyre wear, shall we say. Probably about, if I said 18, probably about 15 laps. I mean, you could put the softs on if you can risk it for a biscuit, but Tom 44's got a 3-second time penalty. What is your thoughts, mate? What do you think is going to happen?
I think he needs to try to stay on the medium tires as long as possible, and you know, that's really a fine line, because there's a point to where it's just not benefiting you anymore to stay out on old tires. But I think he needs to stay out there as long as possible, try to get a few more laps in it if he can, and then pit for the soft tires to try to make up that ground. As now Mr. P is going by Mike and Aaron JS and Luke Bailey. No, never mind, Luke Bailey is just went into the pits. But, you know, Mr. P is 18 seconds behind Ton. I'm sorry, Mac, I lost my train. I just completely lost my train of thought. You carry on here. I was watching the battle between Ton and Mr. Sky here for a minute, as they're now into the tunnel section and heading to the chicane. No chance for overtake this time around, but a lot of ground was made up right there by Ton.
Oh, okay. We're just going, I don't know, there's a bit of a lag difference from my screen to your screen. We're just inside the tunnel section now. But Mike might have a chance of trying to get the overtake moment here. I know there's been a delay on the commentary as well, so I do apologise. Briggsy's got retired from the session. Briggsy's retired.
Well, the battle I was watching was oh, I saw some smoke up ahead, but I don't know what happened to Briggsy, but I was watching the battle earlier when I was in the tunnel between Mr. Sky and Ton, you know, running 2nd and 3rd, and they're both just giving chase to Scope Builder, and both of them are less than a second. They're within striking distance of Scope Builder. If they can just find a way to set up a pass, they're about to enter the hairpin now, and they're approaching it just now. That Toro Rosso not going to be able to make a move on Scope Builder, and the Alfa Romeo not going to be able to make a move on the Toro Rosso as well. They have to go through their nose to tail yet again.
While you're watching that, Tim, I'm watching this 3-car battle here for 4th place here. Mr. P is doing a brilliant job here. Tom 44 is the fastest lap of the race with a 1:14.2. Fantastic stuff from him. And he will get a fastest lap point if he stays in the top 10 tonight. But like I said, we've got Mr. P in 4th, Mike in 5th, Aaron J. Spencer 6th, and Luke Bailey is slowly catching up. Aaron J. Spencer's on 22 laps of the hards. Those tyres will be shot if he doesn't pit soon. You know, I will be surprised. I will be very, very surprised, depending on where Scope. I'm going to go back to the leader interval. Now, normally it's like a 20 to 25 second gap. at this moment in time, if Mr. Sky pits now, they'll be just behind Luke Bailey if it stays like this. So I say 25 seconds if they have to like change the wing as well. So 25 seconds, they will probably drop down to 7th place if it stays like this. If they do pit now.
Now, do you think that Scopefielder and Mr. Sky are going to have to pit, or do you think that they can squeeze it out on the rest of this race on those hard tires? Because that's a lot to ask for.
Good question, actually, to be fair to 11 laps, another 11 laps, 30 laps of the hard tyres, 29 laps for Mr. Sky C to do the hards as well, and with Tarn Avalanche.
Luke Bailey making a move. He makes a move on Aaron JS, a little bit of contact, but Luke Bailey gets by just fine. Those soft tires really coming into play, and now Aaron JS actually got in the back of Luke.
Yeah, I don't know if Aaron J. Spencer's lost a bit of his front wing damage there, but he was right at the back and hit the back of Luke Bailey. Tarn Avalanche has got 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings here. So, it could have been a side-by-side moment with Mark! What a move! What a move there from Luke Bailey! What a move! Absolutely brilliant move from Luke Bailey, just at the nick of time. Mike would be thinking, what has happened? But I tell you what, going back to the top 3, Tim, I'm speechless. This is insane stuff here.
Yeah,
Brilliant stuff,
absolutely. It is a 1, 2, 3 battle for the lead. Scopefielder in the lead, Mr. Scott. Now he's getting pressure from Ton. Waving tail, gonna try to make a move on that Toro Rosso. Maybe he'll make it work in the hairpin, but it's not gonna work. Just no room there. He's gonna have to stay in the 3rd position. His next opportunity, and really the only opportunity he has to overtake right here, is coming out of this tunnel section, and he's gonna undoubtedly try it. I just don't know if he's gonna be able to make it work.
I doubt it very much. I mean, I've actually questioned about the
there was contact, and now I think Ton has lost a wing. I think he lost the right side of his front wing.
Correct. You're spot on there, Tim. You've lost a bit of his front wing on the right hand side. I was watching it from that point there. But regarding that question, do you think? Oh, Brixie's left the session. Do you think the top 2 would do another 11 laps or 10 laps now of the hard tyres to finish the race? Or do you think that's going to be risking it for a biscuit?
Well, Luke Bailey is 22 seconds behind Wave and Tail. And that is a lot of ground to make up for him to even get a podium, much less a win. And Wave and Tail is 1.2 seconds and dropping behind the leader. So honestly, I think that Scopefielder and Mr. Sky, they have absolutely nothing to lose here by staying out and trying to get these tires to last, simply because of the gap behind them is just so great that I don't think it's going to benefit them to pit. Virtually, one of them, probably Scopefielder, would have a free pit stop and still be able to exit in front of Luke Bailey, but I just wouldn't risk that. Yeah,
the Sky C's struggling. He's struggling for this. He was right close to Scope, but he's struggling with the tyre wear. Oh my God, Tarn Avalanche nearly lost it at that corner at the chicane part there. I would not be surprised if Mr. Sky C does the other. Oh my God, he's lost the front wing damage! Front wing damage from Mr. Sky C. So, yeah, he's lost both wing side plates on that one. But Tarn Avalanche might have a chance to try and close it on him. I will not be surprised if he pits. No, he's still going. They're still going. Oh my God, they're still going. I'll tell you what, I don't know what to say.
Tom's making a move, he's making a move. He's on the outside, there is some contact. What's gonna happen here is Ton gets into the wall just a little bit, and now you see that Toro Rosso of Mr. Scott. He's fighting back hard, but Ton gets ahead.
Oh, what a move. What a move from Tarn Avalanche. Tell you what, he'll be the one to watch. Try closing on Scopefielder for 1st place now. 2.8 second gap between Tarn Avalanche and Scopefielder with 8 laps remaining of the Invictus Racing League, the Performance League, for the, well, technically it's the 2nd race, but this is our first live race of the brand new season of the Invictus Racing League Performance League. I hope you're enjoying it, guys. Please make sure you like and follow on the Twitch channel, but also, like I said, Tim does the F1 channel as well, so make sure you follow him as well on the Wednesday nights. Not only we do the Performance League on the Tuesday nights, we do the no assists on Monday night, which Gareth is joining us tonight. And also we got the equal leagues on the Wednesday nights of the F1, F2 and F3 for live exclusive. You've got Tim doing the fantastic broadcast for the F1 on Wednesday night. You got Energy Dan in second in F2 and myself in F3 as well. But like I said, Gareth and Sab, who both do the no assist league as well, they do a cracking job with the commentary stuff. So make sure you follow them, guys. Fantastic stuff. But also, with this battle here going on, Miss Sky C will be absolutely livid there. Oh, I've just had a comment there, Tim. Gareth says, as long as he keeps it out of the wall, Scope has this. Wing damage for Ton and Sky will drop them way down. Well, Miss Sky C's lost a bit of his front wing damage. So, I would not be surprised if oh, actually, Ton Avalanche has lost a bit of his front wing on the right side as well. Depending on Scope's doing a fantastic job. He's just doing everything possible. But don't forget, Ton Avalanche has got a penalty, as I believe, Tim. Is that correct?
I have actually not been able to keep track of the penalties today. There's just been too much going on. But look for Luke Bailey back there in the 4th position, who is really eating away into that gap to Mr. Sky. It's 14 seconds to Mr. Sky. What has happened here, it looks like TL44 and Mike is having a battle.
What a move there from Tom 444. Side by side just before the chicane. Mike lost out again on the same corner. Aaron Spence must have done the same. He's done the same. The two Renaults. Lightning doesn't strike. Lightning doesn't strike twice. I'll tell you what, he's just done it twice already. Two Renaults. Even the crowd are absolutely clapping with that. Fantastic performance there from Aaron Spence and Tom 444 for the two overtake moves there. Fantastic stuff. Carry on, Tim.
Going back to look at your battle for the lead as Ton Albanach has now closed the interval to just 0.8 seconds on Scope Builder. Scope Builder on those hard tires. Ton Albanach on those medium tires. 24 laps for Scope and 20 for Ton. So they're both on old tires. There should not be much of a tire advantage here as Ton just barely nicked the wall right there.
Oh! What a move from Tom 444! What a move from Tom 444! Oh, from the hairpin, and it's just gone the inside, and sorry, from the outside. And I tell you what, he did a magnificent move there, Tom 444. But Ton Avalanche, as you said, 1.3 second gap. Do you think, I tell you what, with 5 laps remaining, do you think he'll catch up to Scope, or do you think it's too much to ask now?
I think it's too much to ask because there momentarily it looked like he was gaining on him, and I think he actually was, as Scope was probably trying to conserve tires just a little bit. I don't think he's going to be able to catch him.
You don't think that he's going to be able to catch him now?
Not even close. No, not unless Scope Builder were to hit the wall or have a major issue.
No, I think I'm very surprised that Miss Sky C and Scope have not had their tyres ripped yet. I was expecting them to hit the wall or whatever happens here. Fair play to them, 25, at least 24 laps of the hard tyres from Scope and from Sky C. So fantastic driving there. Mike has pitted for the fresh soft tyres, so he'll probably go for the fastest lap of the race. Mr. P has got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. To be fair though, this track is, you can get the corner cuts really easy here. They're going to be very careful here, whatever happens here. But Ton Avalanche is under a second now. So he's lost down the DRS straight now. Supposed to go 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. But what's your thoughts with the last four laps here? Is there any? Would they see any more moves, shall we say, or do you think what you see is what you're going to get?
I actually think we're going to see another move. If you look, Luke Bailey now only 9 seconds behind Mr. Sky with 4 laps to go. It's going to be very close. But I think Luke Bailey is going to be able to make it work because Mr. Sky is more or less just kind of dropping with that wing damage, while Luke Bailey on those soft tires is just moving forward. But with 9 laps on those soft tires, I don't know how long they're going to benefit him.
With the soft tyres, I predicted 15 laps. So he's got another 4 laps, so whatever happens, he will be safe, but it will be at the point where the tyre wear will be absolutely shot at that point. I might be wrong with the predictions of the tyre wear, but I was predicted about at least 21, 22 laps on the hard tyres, but Scope and Mr. Sky C have just shot me down pretty much on that one. But do you want to do the rundown of the leaderboard so far of the race, Tim?
Well, we got the Williams of Scopefielder in command of this race. He's basically dominated the entire race. And he actually hit a little piece of debris there on the track, but he gets away unscathed. Ton, Wave and Tail in the Alfa Romeo in the second position, giving chase to Scopefielder, but not sure if he's going to be able to make anything work of it. In third place, you have Mr. Sky Z, who's in the Toro Rosso. Fourth place is Luke Bailey on those soft tires, trying to make up ground, but he's running out of time here. Fifth place is TL44S in that Renault. Behind him, another Renault of Aaron JS. Red Bull of Colin J behind him, with the McLaren of Mike in the 8th position. 9th is F1 Mr. P80. 10th is O Steven 002, who I believe you said is making his debut here today. Sab in 11th position and actually in the pits. Not sure what's going on there, but Sab is now in the pits. And Sir Spud in the 12th position, 1 lap down. He is the last car on track, with Briggsy and SJD having a DNF.
Absolutely. Gareth has made a very good comment in the stream. He's saying the back end of the top 10 all pit in looking for the fastest lap extra points. I would not be surprised that they've gone for that, to be fair. I would not be surprised. Because risking it for a biscuit, you know, fair play. If they do get the fastest lap, they've got to go for it now. I think the fastest lap of the race so far is a 1:13 flat, but that was done by Aaron J. Spence in 6th place. So the guys, I mean, they've got to go for it now. They've got no choice. They've got to go for it. Saab's only 2/10 off the fastest lap of the race, but madness stuff here, whatever happens here tonight. The only battle we could, well, 2 battles we've got so far on lap 37-39 of the Invictus Racing Performance League with the legendary Tim in the commentary box. We've got Scope and Tony Avalanche battling out for the 1st and 2nd, and also what I'm watching at the moment is Mike and Mr. P in 8th and 9th respectively. Mr. P did pit for the fresh soft tyres, Tim. So, all yellow flag set to 3.
Not sure what's going on there. Scopefielder is currently approaching that section. It's now green flag in sector 3. I don't see any debris. I see no cars stopped anywhere, so maybe a slow car was just running through that sector.
Yeah, it could be that. But I'm just watching to see, still watching this battle between Mike and Mr. P to see if there was any action going on soon on here. But we're on the penultimate lap, 38 of 39 of this fantastic race at Monaco. For the first time since 2017. It's all those years ago, all those seasons and seasons ago. It feels like a long time, shall we say, but with the situation here, I think it's fair to say it's good to be. Monaco's brought some absolute belter of a race here tonight, and Scope's done a brilliant start here. Whatever happens here tonight, Sab's has got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, Tim.
Oh goodness, Sab has you said he had a time penalty for multiple warnings, so I don't know how many time penalties has been acquired in this race. You were mentioning that maybe the Alfa Romeo has a time penalty.
I believe so, yes, of Tony Avalanche, aka Wave and Tail. I believe so, yes.
So
sorry,
how
Tim.
No, you're completely fine. I was actually looking at the comments on Twitch, and SJD 1988 in the comments right now. He says, "Hi Tim, I told you Scope would win in the Williams," and well, you know, SJD, I think you're onto something, as we are right now on the final lap, lap 39 of 39. Scopefielder is leading. He has a little bit of pressure from that Alfa Romeo, but I think you're right, SJD. I think he's going to pull off and get this win here today.
I'll tell you what, SJD will be absolutely gutted and absolutely fuming at the Monaco Grand Prix, but I'm hoping he'll bounce back. Same with Briggsy. I hope the 2 drivers who had the DNFs earlier on in the race, or during the race as well, I hope they bounce back, and I'm sure they will, because they are fantastic drivers. Wherever happens it. Well, all of you guys are fantastic drivers at Invictus Racing League, and like I said, this has been a belter. whatever happens here tonight. But Ton Avalanche, I tell you what, I'll let you do the final few corners here, mate, to finish off the
Completely
lap.
fine with that. Alfa Romeo of Waving Tail still putting pressure on that Williams of Scope Builder, but it is not a lot of pressure as he just cannot close that gap. But with that wing damage, no wonder. You gotta wonder though, Mount, if he did not have that wing damage, he probably would have got ahead and won this race by now, considering how close he's already keeping it. But it's just not going to be enough, as Scope Builder in the Williams is officially going to cross the line in the first position. And barring any time penalty, Scope Builder will be your winner here in the Monaco Grand Prix.
Ah, fantastic stuff. Mrs. Skycy did move up to second place. Ton Avalanche did have a penalty, dropped down to third. Luke Bailey finishes in fourth. O'Stephen finishes in 10th. Tom 4-4. How much for? Oh, he was 3 seconds off Luke Bailey. So 4 seconds off, but 7 seconds overall. Aaron J. Spence finishes in 6th place. Colin J would finish in 7th place. 31 laps on the hard tyres. 30 laps on the hard tyres. These guys are absolutely insane stuff. But we will invite them in a minute to talk about their views of the race. Guys, if you're in the stream, what questions would you like to say to Scope, Mr. Skycy and Ton Avalanche for their race stuff, whatever happens here tonight? Mike finishes in 8th. Mr. P finishes in 9th, O'Stephen finishes in 10th, and Sab will be the last one to finish off in 11th place. What are your thoughts of that race tonight there, Tim?
Well, it was relatively a calm race, actually, given what I was expecting, and honestly, I think that the drivers would agree. Well, maybe not the ones who had the DNF, but nonetheless, a very exciting race, a lot of overtaking, well, for Monaco anyway, a lot of overtaking, and very surprising to see all those drivers out there with wing damage and still able to continue on.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But hopefully, well, like I said, I'd rather have the Monaco track to be done and dusted now than right at the end when there could be even more wing damage, shall we say, on that one. But fair play to the drivers. There's been some cracking battles here, especially from Scope, from Mr. Scorsese, and from Ton Avalanche. Ton Avalanche did very well, to be fair. Who's been your driver of the day, guys? In the chat, we'll decide there. But go on, Tim. I'll let you do the rundown of the standings.
Well, you got Scope Builder, your official winner here in the Monaco Grand Prix, with Mr. Sky in second, Waving Tail in third, followed by Luke Bailey. Just missed out on the podium, that Mercedes did, with TL44S in the Renault in the 5th position. 6th is Colin J. 7th is Aaron JS. Mike in 8th. 9th is Mr. P. O'Stephen, his debut for the Invictus Racing League, 10th position. 11th is Sab. Sir Spud, 12th. 13th is Briggsy and SJD, rounding it out in the 14th position. Those last two, of course, having a DNF.
Absolutely madness stuff here tonight at
now,
the
we do
Invictus
have,
Racing League.
from SJD, a question to ask Scope. Can you ask Scope how he feels about being allocated an F2 car for France? And Malk, you might actually have to be the one to be asking these questions. I always have issues with these guys, but I'm going to stay in his chat. We're going to figure this out one way or another.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, if more questions to be answered, guys. If you guys want to ask the questions to the guys here, what their thoughts of the race, would be fantastic stuff here. But like I said, I'm just going to try and invite the guys. I don't know if Scope can join the party, shall we say. He's just left the session. Hopefully he'll bounce back, same as Sky C. Hopefully he'll come back in. Just waiting for some of the guys to join in the party now. So we've got Scope in now. Just waiting for Mr. Sky C. And then we'll kick off with the roundup, shall we say, of the Invictus Racing League Performance League. This has been an absolute belter of a race tonight. Mr. Skycy has just joined in now. Now, before we start, guys, can you please make sure your allow voice is to be shared? If you don't know how to do it, go to the party settings on your right hand side. Make sure that your
I also want the setup.
actually, you're wrong. I won the last pre-season race, so it's my second win during this league. But yeah, this not counts. No, it's okay. But yeah, it will be close between maybe top five, top six. Scott, Way, Joss, JD, Aaron. There are so many big names in the league that can be champ or fighting for wins, podium. That's why I love this league. It's because of the close championship. So yeah, but I think Scott win because he has a better car than me. I mean, the Williams is a better car than the Toros. Everyone knows it. Nah, it's a joke. Yeah, it can be better, but it can be a lot worse. So yeah, P2 is always a good start, even in Monaco, even more in Monaco. So yeah, next week I don't know which track it is. It's gonna be different, but yeah, P2 in Monaco, winning Toro Rosso. I'm very happy with that. My home race.
Well, I got a question for Ton, and it was more of a situation of you had no choice, but and you weren't the only driver to do this. But how was it staying out there with wing damage, especially there toward the end? Because I'm pretty sure that the entire right side of your front wing was gone, and I just feel like that would make the car such a monster to drive.
It was difficult, yes, especially towards the end. But after a while, you sort of get used to it. Like I said earlier, I felt like I was back in car on track. Didn't I felt could catch up to everyone I had to catch up to. So it's not that pain and everything else.
Yeah, it was like you and Mr. P and someone else who was just out there on wing damage. So I mean, it was a pretty chaotic race. But now I got a question just for either of you three that want to answer it. Just I mean, is that what you expected for Monaco? Because we haven't ran Monaco in a while, and you can go in there expecting it to be pretty crazy and put a spanner in things. So was it tame as far as what you were expecting, or was it about where you thought?
I'd say that it's a bit better than I was expecting. I was expecting a bit more bouncy, you know?
Yeah, I was too. Definitely. Scope or Mr. Sky, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I practiced a bit too much to only finish Q2, but yeah, I practiced with big HAG on Sunday just to evaluate the grid and the pace that the world grid has, and I wasn't too worried about that. Only Archie was very, very, very quick and Doran, but he's not racing in realistic performance. So yeah, I was just a bit worried about Archie that left. So yeah, I feel like I had my chance, but as you can see, Scope took the chance.
And very fast in that Williams. In a final question here for Scope. You're in the Williams, so it's the slowest car out there as far as pace and development and performance and everything. So, what challenges does that bring to the table for you, and what do you do to compensate in order to still be out front in the races?
I think Monaco is a very special race. Like you have a fast start, so in one way I was kind of lucky with losing this race. Uh, we know already that losing the ring is so normal, but uh, it's all about the damage and just stay on track. So uh, yeah, we got through that. Uh, I mean, the on the straight, that's a bit. I went solo.
Yep.
Oh, excellent, nice.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, well, I think just gotta push as hard as you can, and even close, they're not gonna be putting you into the ring. I wasn't even top in pace today, maybe fourth with favors being Tom and Sorita faster than me. I was lucky in qualifying, and then it's just about keeping the car on track races most of the time.
Definitely. Mac, you got anything to add?
No, I also think Monaco had a good experience. Yeah. When we talk about the British Grand Prix, next weekend we saw Steve Crawford winning Q side.
I'm fine. I'm good. Go ahead, Mount.
So we're going to talk about the French Grand Prix. The usual two questions I always ask them is the next track is a French Grand Prix. All being well, as long as there's no issues with the assets or the pit speed. Um, the French Grand Prix, that all being well, is a home Grand Prix for Mr. Scott, so hopefully there'll be no pressure next week for the race.
So no pressure on the track.
Just good race, guys. I mean, it's Monaco, and you all said it yourself that you expected there to be more carnage, and there wasn't. And so there was 14 drivers out there, and good job to all 14 of them. But I got you three here, so I'm saying good job to you as well. Well, I mean, like I said, and like they said, I just thought that there was going to be a lot more carnage than there was, and there just wasn't. So, I mean, it's not that it wasn't any more exciting. I was just surprised to see that it was such a relatively clean race, and I was also surprised to see some drivers staying out there with wing damage. I mean, obviously the situation with Ton, you know, he had nothing to lose. He was going to have to stay out there if he was going to have any chance of getting a decent finish. But further back in the pack, when you got Mr. P who had that damage, and I think he recovered even to what was it, a fifth place finish with the wing damage. It was just that was surprising to see. I expected some guys to pit and get that fixed. Well, Luke Bailey, I keep saying him, but it's just I am legitimately surprised by him. He had really good pace in qualifying, and then he had really good pace in the race, and almost had a podium. And had he not gotten into the wall that time, he probably would have walked away with the podium, and he still recovered to a fourth place finish. So, Scopefielder and Mr. Sky, I think we're going to see them going head to head this whole season. I'm not going to say it's going to be a Hamilton versus Rosberg, maybe not even a Lotta versus Hunt, but it's going to be something very close and very interesting to see. But Luke Bailey is going to be a guy that I think is going to give us a few surprises, and of course, Ton, who had just an amazing run today and probably would have won had he not had damage in the time penalties. He's going to be up there as well. Now that is definitely a tough one. It's really got to be between Ton and Luke Bailey because Luke Bailey, I'm very impressed with the recovery that he had there, but Ton, he just showed impressive speed, and I just don't think that he reached the full potential that he could have today. So it's got to be between those two. I can't even choose.
To be fair though, Luke Bailey was a good scorer, did make mistakes, but all his way back into the top five. But on Avalanche, I would have to pick Connor Avalanche because he made one of the best moves I've seen in the race. If you watch it back, you'll and watched it, you'll understand why. He went to the inside while Wozniacki did as well. He didn't allow some power play. And to be fair, to come back as well, he could have had a kick as well. He's there almost to get off, and he just backhands it underneath and says, I'm not going to draw it more than that, trying to hold on. Schofield and winning it, Spicy, almost in position of holding stuff as well. But for me personally, I think out of the two, I would say I would have gone for Connor Avalanche just because of his power to get back into front. And it's annoying that he could have got the job, but for me, personally, it was Avalanche. But have you got any last few words, mate, before we shoot off?
On to France, man. Like it's I got the equal race tomorrow. So I still get a little bit of Monaco in this week, but after that, it's going to be full fledged France.
For the country to go to the second most another round of Monaco for Invictus as we need the series going. But also, as Tim said, it's not that tough to score, mate. Tim, like I said, we got the Performance Leagues tomorrow night at 8 o'clock for the F1, which Tim is the legendary Tim Prix who commentates that. You got NZ back in F2 as well, and then you also got F3 of myself commentating the series tomorrow night. Also, don't forget to make sure you follow and subscribe to all the Invictus Racing League channels, especially the analysis stuff as well, because especially with Gareth and Sam, two great commentators on the game. Everyone does a great job. But like I said, make sure you follow and subscribe to racing. I'd like to say a massive thank you to everyone that's been. I'd like to thank my co-commentator, thank you very much, mate. Cheers to the last.
Hey, it's fun working with you here, man. Like it's really fun. Just basically we get to sit back and watch a race.
Just chillax, get a beer, chillax, and we're doing our jobs, but we're drinking at the same time.
We need to do an exhibition race this season, and it needs to be drunk commentary.
I'll tell you what, if people watch this and they want us to do that, that'll be like an end of season moment. But let's see what happens. Maybe like beeping this, beeping that, get the beep out on that one, should I say? But let's wait and see what happens. If you want to see it, then I can sort something out at the end of the season with racing. But that's 11 weeks left. Well, 10. Yeah, 11 weeks left of the Invictus Racing League. There will be four more races after the first part of the racing, but there's also there probably will have to race one in between as well. So a sixth one in the second week. So
Yeah.
plenty of racing to go. But
The intoxicated Grand Prix.
yeah, that'll be cool. That is, and then if we get the second one, then there'll be an intoxicated Grand Prix where all drivers apart from the commentators can drink.
Uh, only in the world of esports can this happen.